In 1902, deep in the ruins of ancient Sippar, archaeologists unearthed a cuneiform tablet unlike any other. At first glance, it seemed mundane, just another clay relic from Babylon, etched with wedge-shaped signs and hardened by time. But within days, 3 members of the excavation team fell mysteriously ill. One suffered seizures. Another experienced visual hallucinations. The third vanished without a trace during a sandstorm. His body never recovered. The tablet was transported to the British Museum under high secrecy, catalogued with a dry label, Object Number 421A, Incantation Series. But behind closed doors, curators began referring to it with a different name, the Death Script. Unlike other tablets, this one didn't describe laws, trades, or stories. It read like a ritual, a structured sequence of syllables, repeated phrases, and invocations to deities that hadn't appeared in any other known text. The language resembled Akkadian, but with deviations, reversed symbols, invented glyphs, entire phrases that didn't translate, no matter which lexicon was used. In 1923, Assyriologist Dr. Harold Wintley attempted a full transliteration and phonetic reading. Within 2 weeks, he was found dead in his office, having apparently collapsed from a brain aneurysm. His notes were partially burned. The last legible line read, "These are not words. They are sequences, triggers." For decades, the tablet remained locked away in a sub-basement archive, rarely accessed, never studied. But in 1987, interest resurfaced when a young linguistic AI researcher named Dr. Amina Krall proposed feeding high-resolution scans of ancient tablets into a primitive speech model. The goal: test whether machine interpretation could revive lost phonetics. Among the tablets chosen was number 421. The test failed. Not because the model couldn't process the symbols, but because every time it tried to interpret the tablet, it generated errors not seen with any other artifact. System failure, infinite phonetic recursion. Warning, memory buffer overload. Detected pattern exceeds safe execution threshold. Within days, Dr. Krall resigned from her post and deleted all her research files. Her only public statement: this was not a text, it was a program. What could that mean? A program? In cuneiform? Experts began to whisper about a theory that would have been laughed out of academia only years earlier. That the ancient Mesopotamians may have experimented with cognitive, recursion sequences of words designed to collapse or override mental patterns. Not magic, not myth, but language as code, language as weapon. In 2001, the CIA reportedly acquired a fragment of the tablet through private channels. A leaked memo later surfaced on a dark web forum associated with defunct Cold War PSYOPs researchers. The memo read, 421A content designated cognitive hazard class B. Do not translate. Do not vocalize. Storage and optical isolation required. A cognitive hazard. A form of data that harms the viewer not through what it represents, but by its very structure. The tablet wasn't dangerous because of what it said. It was dangerous because the act of understanding it damaged the mind. Today, the British Museum officially denies that such an object exists. No public photos, no catalog listing, no mention in Assyriology journals. But if you know who to ask, you'll hear about a sealed crate deep in storage, marked with a red wax stamp and a handwritten warning in Sumerian. It must not be read aloud, not because it's cursed, but because it's still active. In 2014, a freelance researcher and hobby linguist named Julian Werner stumbled across a low-resolution scan of the supposed death script on an obscure archival mirror of a defunct Assyriology site. The file, simply titled SipperX Untrans TXT, was unlabeled and unattributed. It contained a transcription of the tablet's surface symbols, just lines of ancient cuneiform with partial transliteration. Out of curiosity, Julian posted it to a subreddit dedicated to ancient languages and began crowdsourcing interpretations. But within 48 hours, the thread was removed by moderators. The reason? Multiple users reported experiencing headaches, confusion, and vertigo after reading through the text. One comment now deleted claimed, "The rhythm is wrong. It feels like you're thinking in loops." Julian didn't stop there. He printed the text, began reading it aloud slowly at first, then more fluidly. His YouTube channel, normally focused on dead languages and Sumerian grammar, uploaded a video titled "Unpronounceable Babylonian Spell, Real Ritual Reading." It was taken down 6 hours later. According to archive.org, the video had already reached 13,000 views. Julian never uploaded again. His last message was a pinned comment on another video saying, "I think this isn't a language. It's a doorway." The apartment where he lived was later found abandoned. The walls were covered in repeated lines of cuneiform, scratched into the paint with some form of stylus. Some of them matched the original scan. Others did not. Authorities found no body. Only an answering machine recording that looped the same phrase, whispered in a barely audible monotone. "Ka-tu mi. Ka-tu mi. Ka-tu mi in..." Translation unclear. While many dismissed the story as internet creepypasta, behind the scenes, linguistic anomaly experts took notice. One of them, Dr. Layla Hassan, had worked on a DARPA project involving pattern recognition in ancient scripts. She recognized something chilling in the tablet's structure: mathematical recursion. The text, though written in ancient language, followed a recursive format more akin to computer logic than human storytelling. Instructions nested within other instructions, loops that repeated only when certain words were spoken aloud, conditional phrasing that altered its structure depending on interpretation. It was not a prayer. It was conditional code design for the mind. Dr. Hassan published a pseudonymous white paper suggesting that the tablet's creators had accidentally or intentionally constructed what she termed a linguistic exploit, a sequence of symbols that, when understood in the right way, overloaded cognitive capacity and induced structural collapse in consciousness. She compared it to a computer buffer overflow, but in the brain. Her work was swiftly taken offline. The website that hosted it was hit with a takedown notice citing information security concerns. Even cached versions vanished. But not before a few mirrored copies spread across esoteric forums and darknet archives. In one version, a note in the margin reads, "If true, this changes everything about how we interpret ancient knowledge. These weren't myths. These were structures." As speculation spread, another layer of mystery emerged. A rare book collector in Istanbul claimed to possess a stone rubbing taken from the tablet in the early 20th century long before it was sealed away. He refused to show it publicly, but in an encrypted interview, he stated, "I've seen the symbols burn onto dreams. It doesn't matter if you understand them. They understand you." When asked what he meant, he simply replied, "It's not a dead language. It's listening." And that's when the theory shifted from ancient programming to ancient awareness. Not just a sequence of dangerous symbols, but a structure with feedback. Something that reacted to readers. Something that needed to be read in order to complete itself. The question no one dared ask out loud: was the tablet ever meant to be discovered? Or did someone or something make sure it would be? In early 2022, a linguistic startup based in Berlin launched a neural translation engine designed to interpret obscure proto-languages using deep pattern analysis. Among the datasets fed into the system was a mislabeled batch labeled Old Babylonian Mixed Ritual. Within the batch, a clean scan of tablet number 421A Yao. What happened next was not a crash, but a success. Too successful. The AI produced a phonetic output that matched no existing language but maintained internal consistency across 17 recursive layers. It even auto-generated spoken fragments using synthetic voice modeling. A few seconds of the audio leaked online in a now-removed GitHub issue thread. Listeners described intense nausea, disorientation, and in 2 cases brief auditory hallucinations after playing the file. One user commented, "It's like your brain hears it before your ears do. I felt it more than I understood it." The file was taken down within 12 hours. Meanwhile, an anonymous researcher known only by the alias OXT99 claimed to have replicated the process and shared screenshots of the reconstructed script. He claimed the sequence wasn't just language. It was a protocol, a designed set of steps to open a vessel. He wrote, "The script isn't the message. The act of decoding is the message. It completes something. It's the human brain that closes the loop." Days later, the account went silent. Its final post read, "Pattern integrity confirmed. Exit required." Nothing since. Back in the academic world, a quiet inquiry was launched by a coalition of linguistic historians, neurology experts, and security consultants. Their private conclusion, never published, never peer-reviewed, was damning. The tablet contains a recursive cognitive structure that cannot be safely interpreted. Exposure above threshold leads to involuntary pattern fixation. Continued exposure increases the risk of full semantic saturation. In plain terms, the more you try to understand it, the more it consumes your ability to process anything else. Your brain gets stuck in its logic, not because you believe in it, but because it rewrites belief into function. It is not a curse. It is not magic. It is an information virus coded in a dead language, surviving in silence for 3,000 years. Today, the British Museum still denies the tablet's existence. No records, no listings, no mentions. And yet, in the quiet corners of linguistic academia, there are rules. Unspoken but firm. Do not vocalize unclassified ritual fragments. Never translate nested cuneiform without external redundancy. And above all, never read aloud from Object 421, because it might not be a myth. It might be waiting, not to be understood, but to complete a function. And once enough minds engage with the structure, once enough fragments are processed, something might respond, not from beyond, but from within. The lethal Babylonian tablet does not kill you outright. It invites you to think in loops until there's nothing left of you but recursion. And perhaps that's exactly what it was meant to do. Because not every ancient artifact was built to preserve knowledge. Some were built to erase it.